this is our accommodation in Lahaina, and it is perfect. The beach is right there, and I'm just sitting on my patio at the moment. We did get a cockroach, so that was fun. So now we're learning to close the screen doors. But otherwise, this is so perfect. Great start to our trip.
We were in Lahaina for about 3-4 days and had an amazing time. After settling into our Airbnb, we went into town to explore Old Town Lahaina. There were a lot of cool old colonial buildings, and we walked around that a lot, as well as seeing some of the native Hawaiian remnants that were left. There were a lot of cool shops to check out, as well as some food places. So overall, we had a really great time in Old Town Lahaina. The next day, we went snorkeling at the little beach right outside our Airbnb that you guys saw in the earlier footage. So it was a super convenient location. Visibility wasn't the greatest, to be honest, but we saw a lot of little fish, and we also saw a turtle, which was really cool. So all in all, a really cool experience for such a convenient location.
I did get some footage. Do you want to explain a little bit about what we saw in there?
I didn't really see very much.
You didn't see very much?
No, we saw turtles outside, right? I didn't see turtles actually.
Yeah, no, I got some good footage of a turtle swimming. Not the best clarity of water, but it was still really nice. And then just like tons of schools of fish, just teeming with life. And this is a little private beach that we have in our hotel, in our Airbnb. So super serene. It is a beautiful day in Maui on the west coast, and we're doing a coastal trail today. Everyone has walked off without me, as you can see. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful day.
The Kapalua Coastal Trail is actually quite short. It's only 1.7 miles point to point, about 3.5 miles round trip. It should only take you an hour and a half if you are a pretty fast hiker, but it took us probably more like 2.5 hours because we also got a snack and we took pictures, we had cocktails. So yeah, it took us longer than usual, but it's about the journey and not the pace. The Kapalua Coastal Trail starts at Kapalua Bay, and it brings you all the way around DT Fleming Beach, which has a lot of amenities and facilities, including the cocktail shack that we talked about earlier. Along the way, you can pass by a lot of beautiful resorts. I think the Ritz-Carlton is on there. There's some pristine beaches and coves that you can walk out to. There's one part that looks like it was formed from volcanic rocks. It's very black and unique. It's very, very cool to see. And also there are some native Hawaiian heritage sites, ancestral sites along the way to check it out. So yeah, it's quite a nice little coastal walk. We are at the Pui restaurant, and there's a live performance. So idyllic. Look at that backdrop too. Today we're at the Iao Valley Monument. It's a state monument. And this is the very, very beginning of the trail, which starts with a beautiful water stream. As you may notice, Iao Valley is super wet and green, and that's because it is the Hawaiian Islands' second wettest location. It receives 386 inches of rain per year. That's about 9.8 meters. After visiting the Iao Valley Monument, we went to the nearby Kipiniwai Park, which is a public park and heritage garden that celebrates and honors the different cultures that contributed to Maui today. Amongst these cultures that contributed to the heritage of Maui were the Chinese gardens, the Japanese gardens, Korean, Filipino, New England, and Portuguese. It was really touching to see how all of this was brought together and how all the different cultures intertwined in Maui. Going to the gardens really brought home to the fact why Hawaii is such a natural fusion of food in terms of how organic that integration is. When we were in Maui, we had all types of Japanese, Korean, Chinese, native Hawaiian foods, but they all had a bit of influence from each other, which was really interesting. I'm not usually a fusion person, but because of how organic the integration was, I think it was just, elevating the different flavors from different cultures and then combining them in a really unique way that is tasty and not pretentious at all.
We are going to Honolua Bay, and it's a little trail to the bay, but we're surrounded by chickens, as you can hear.
The tree in front of us.
After we overcame the chickens, we arrived in Honolua Bay and went snorkeling there. We learned that Alex is a very, very fast swimmer. He is basically fish in the water. No exaggeration to his speed. It's exactly what it is on the video. But besides from that, we had a really wonderful experience. Honolua Bay itself is a very rocky beach, so it wouldn't be somewhere that I will lay around and enjoy the sun, but for snorkeling, it is absolutely pristine, and I think one of the best snorkeling spots in Maui. We saw a variety of big schools of fish, and it was just so magical when you see the ocean teeming with life. One of the things that I really enjoyed about Honolua Bay as well is that there is absolutely just perfect clarity in water. At least when we were there, the visibility was superb and we could see so far out. It was really magical to be able to do that. It is a bit of a short walk for anyone who is interested in visiting. It's about a 10-minute walk from our parking spot, and the parking is not very obvious. So just follow Google and park nearby where other people are, and then take the short trail to the rocky beach. This is not really related to snorkeling or Honolua Bay, but I wanted to highlight some of the history that we had learned while we were in the area. So in Iao Valley, we learned that there was a very bitter battle that had happened there. It was during the 1700s, and there was a huge war between King Kamehameha on the Big Island and then the forces of Maui, who were led by Kanaliku. I'm sorry I'm butchering these names, but what had happened was this huge battle that resulted in a very large loss of life, and it was actually called the damming of the waters because the corpses floating in the river was blocking the flow of the water. It was also a very monumental part of history because eventually that battle had led to the downfall of Maui's king, and all of Hawaii was united under King Kamehameha. I also want to take a moment to honor the old town of Lahaina, which Most of it was burned down during the wildfires 3 months after our visit. It was a huge loss of life, super heartbreaking. And also the destruction of businesses, people's livelihoods, and heritage. I'm hopeful that it will rebuild in time and we can go back and support the locals and the business when they are ready for us. I do want to end this video on a hopeful note, which is that when the locals are ready to welcome travelers like us back, let's be supportive and be respectful when we visit, because as you can see, Lahaina and Iao Valley, all of these surrounding areas are beautiful and a treasure for us to have.